Guys, how's it going? It's Riley, and welcome back to my channel. So we got a trailer drop. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so first things first that I want to touch on real quick. A lot of people have said this to me in a lot of the comments on some of my older videos, and I just want to clear it up. I don't dislike any of the sides, okay? I don't dislike any of them, and I'm sorry I'm playing with my hair. It's kind of dirty and it looks bad, but anyway, I don't dislike any of the sides. I love all the sides, not equally. There are some I like more, but I don't actively dislike any of them. I am wearing a patent shirt in solidarity because a lot of people have been commenting on my old videos and my old reacts, kind of saying, you know, what happened to your love for Patton? And I'm just like, he's made some decisions I'm not too happy about. That doesn't mean I don't like him as a character, but I need him to have some character development, which I believe we're going to get in this new episode. So this is kind of a, not a react, because I've already seen the trailer multiple times. This is more of just my general thoughts and ideas of what the new episode's going to be about. But anyway, so let's start. This next episode's going to be heavy. I can tell just from the trailer. No one looks happy to be there. Thomas actually looks angry, which I want to touch on that because I think I might be right. I think the next side is going to be anger/rage. And I've said that for a long time. If you go back or if you've been there for some of my old live streams, you'll know that I've talked about what I thought the final side would be. You know, our orange side, if our color theory, rainbow theory is correct. And I think it's going to be anger/rage. And this trailer really makes me believe I'm right. And I'm not the only person to point this out. I noticed it on the second viewing of the trailer. But Thomas, when he opens the door on April 13th, it's dark outside, and the only thing that is like light source is orange, and it's flooding him. He looks completely plastered in orange. And I think that's really interesting of a color choice, because we know that orange is probably going to be excuse me, I have the hiccups. It's going to be the next side's color. So I was like, that's a unique choice. I'm also really excited to see the art in this because I love 8-bit style art. And I think a lot of people who mess with gaming style art like that, like 8-bits, they're not usually given the recognition they deserve as artists. So I'm really hyped about that. The Pokemon part made me just freak out because the style of that is Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, which is Gen 3, which is my favorite games. I love Hoenn so much, so it made me excited that it looks like those three games. But anyway, I just think, you know, it looks like all three of them are angry. Patton, you know, he has his hands over his ears, and he looks like he's shouting, like he's frustrated. And then you have Roman that kind of looks in Patton's direction, also looking very, like, angry or frustrated. And then, of course, you have Thomas walking right up to the camera going, you know, what, everybody? So, you know, it definitely looks like it's going to be heavy in terms of, and I think Joan did this on purpose because they're the one that made this trailer, according to Thomas. He said that on the live stream that happened on Sunday. He said that Joan took charge and made the trailer. And I think Joan purposely picked out specific lines from SVS that are important because of the fact that we purposely get the line that Patton says that nobody's perfect except for Thomas. He loves his friends. We know that's a lie because obviously Thomas isn't perfect. He's a human. He has his own faults. So I think picking out that line is incredibly important to the plot of the new episode, where we're having to think about the fact that part of Thomas thinks that he's perfect. That's not accurate. That's not the truth, and it came from Morality's mouth, which makes it even worse. Like, he's supposed to be the one that determines what's right and what's wrong. That's obviously not true. And not to mention, it also shows the part where Roman sentences Thomas to going to the wedding, which is inherently Thomas punishing himself for wanting to go to the callback because that's being selfish. So obviously we're getting to this idea where we're going to have Roman kind of being the side of Thomas that is arguing almost to Seat's point, but probably better because Roman being Thomas's main creativity, that, you know, it's time for Thomas to stand up for himself and do creative things he wants to do, versus Patton constantly worrying about everybody else and worrying about, you know, how Thomas is perceived. Like, he has to be the good friend. He has to be the one that drops everything and does everything for everybody else. which obviously you can't do that. Sometimes you have to choose yourself, which is what Deceit's point was in SVS, but it kind of went over everybody's head. And I think that's mostly because of the way Deceit talks. I think if Logan had been involved in the episode, it probably would have been a lot clearer as to what was going on. But at the same time, when you argue with yourself like that and like you talk about moral dilemmas and stuff, logic is usually not in the situation. You think about your emotions and your feelings and how you feel about the situation and how it affects you personally versus how it affects other people. And there's not really too much logic in there. Like usually you need an outside source for some logic. And I think Thomas's logic in this one, since he did go to the wedding, which is very clear that he did because he's very nicely dressed. It's dark outside and it shows that it's April 13th. So the callback is over. He missed it. So, you know, we have to deal with the anger of the fact that, like, you know, the wedding probably sucked. Like, we know Thomas said in SVS that the wedding was going to be boring. He was going to play on his phone. You know, he didn't go with anybody else to, like, hang out. He literally only went to support Lee and Mary Lee. So we know that and not to mention, one of the 8-bit frames is Thomas sitting alone checking his phone. So we know that Thomas did not have fun at this wedding. And then we also had the Pokemon scene I mentioned earlier, where Thomas is fighting someone. It doesn't reveal who the silhouette is, but I'm almost wondering if it's himself. Because a lot of this whole situation has been a confrontation over what Thomas appears to be on the outside versus what he is on the inside. And all of us are a little selfish. We all do things for ourselves only, and that's okay. It's not bad to do something for yourself. But Thomas has to learn that. He has to unlearn this idea that everything that he wants to do for himself is selfish, which it's not. There needs to be a healthy amount of things that you do for yourself, because if you continuously throw yourself out to friends and family and coworkers and just throw yourself out and you never do anything from yourself, you're going to burn yourself out. You're going to not have any more energy. And I think that's what a lot of this episode is going to be about. I don't have a theory as to what the name of the episode will be. I think they're going to name it more than SVS Part 2, because obviously it has a lot to do with selfishness and selflessness, but I don't think they're going to go that route, because I know unless they do it with a subtitle like they did Accepting Anxiety, where part 1 was Accepting Anxiety and the other part I don't remember, because I'm not thinking right now. I'm solely focused on that trailer. Or, you know, Can Anxiety Be Good? I think that's what the subtitle is for the second part of Accepting Anxiety. But like the whole idea is that we're going to get a lot of focus on character Thomas in this episode. And I think that's actually really good, because it's about time that character Thomas focused on himself. A lot of the dilemmas that we have dealt with in this series, while they do affect Thomas a little bit, it's almost always about how he is perceived elsewhere. Like the moving on stuff was more about how he was being perceived by his ex-boyfriend and all that stuff. And then you've got, like, you know, Hogwarts houses. How are you perceived by other people? Like, what house do you fit in? Do you act like this? Do you act like that? Like, this might be the episode where Thomas learns a lot about himself and learning that it's not bad to be selfish, because selfishness is when you put your wants over someone else's needs. Whereas in taking care of yourself and being selfless is putting it's not fair to put your needs behind someone else's wants. Like in Thomas with the callback, that's a need, because that's a job. Like Thomas could get, you know, he could win. Is that I'm with Logan here. Is it winning the callback? Is that what it's called? I have no idea. But if that is what it is, if it is winning the callback, then that's a job. He's an actor. So, like, he would get paid for that. It would be bills and stuff. You know, we go back to why do we get out of the bed in the morning and the idea of having a job that's more lucrative. So that would give him money. So that is a need. Yes, he wants to because he enjoys acting, but it's technically a need because it would benefit him monetarily to live his life, pay his bills, yada yada, feed himself. So the wedding is a want of Lee and Mary Lee. not a bad thing to want. Obviously everybody wants to get married, you know, if they find somebody they want to, you know, get married. And not everybody wants to get married, but you know what I mean. Like, people who get together, you know, sometimes they want to get married, and getting married is not an issue, but it's a want. It's not a need. You don't have to get married to anybody. So the idea that Thomas put his friends' wants of him being at the wedding over his own need of, you know, going to this callback and maybe getting the job of a lifetime and making a lot of money to afford his bills and feed himself and take care of his home, that's not good. Like, you shouldn't do that. And I know a lot of people would sit there and say, well, what if it was, you know, Joan and Talon's wedding, or someone that Thomas actually cared about? It doesn't matter, because the thing is Thomas doesn't want to go. He admits that in SVS. He wants to go to the callback. Like Deceit said, if he had wanted to go to the wedding the entire time, they wouldn't be doing what they were doing. But Thomas was lying to himself that entire time, saying that, oh, I really want to go to the wedding. I really do. No, he wants to go to look good. He doesn't want to go because he wants to go. He wants to go because he thinks that's what's right, which is wrong. You should go because you want to, not because you feel an obligation to go. You know, you explain it to your friends and talk to them, which obviously he didn't. Maybe they'll bring that up too. But I just think that's what this episode is going to focus on. It's going to focus on the idea that Thomas lets himself go too much. He lets himself not be chosen. He always puts himself out to do things for other people all the time. And it's about time he chose himself for once. Do I think we're going to get a new side in this episode? I don't. We've only had, excuse me, 2 episodes with Remus in it, you know, if you include the asides, because he was there. So, like, I don't think we're going to get a new side yet, but I really think they're leaning towards the anger side. I really do. And it would be so cool if I was right, because that would be awesome. I've been on the anger rage side for the entire time we've been thinking about what the orange side is going to be. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this real quick video of my thoughts on what the next Standard Sides episode is going to be. Hope that you guys like this style of video, because I just kind of ramble at the camera and then I upload to YouTube. So that's all I got. But I will see you guys very soon. Obviously, I will be reacting to this new episode. I'm assuming it'll be out within the next 2 to 3 weeks, because Thomas said in the live stream on Sunday that he wanted it to be out before the end of March. So fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. But as always, I love you guys so much. Thank you for all your support. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to be around for my Standard Sides reacts, theories, and all kinds of junk I do on my channel. Don't forget the like button. Comment below, because I've heard it's good for the YouTube algorithm. If you get that joke, comment below and let me know what it is. And take it easy, guys, gals, non-binary pals, everything between or nothing at all. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.